This is Vice President Henry Wallace and his victory garden with his son. He wasn't making it up. He was actually a real farmer. Can all you can. It's a real war job. Grow your own. Be sure. Now, given the current concerns about our food system, could these models inform our thinking today? Are we thinking too small? Are we thinking too small? Think about America. 1941, December 1941, America is bombed. By mid-1942, virtually all American manufacturing capacity has been re-geared to wartime measures. Americans didn't buy washers and dryers during World War II. They deferred consumer purchases to basically work together to accomplish a goal of having America be successful in a war. One of the ways that they felt they were contributing to success, again, is by having 3/5 of a nation garden. That's wonderful. Now, where we're going right now is, I characterize our work as we're going to go into a period of consilience. And that's basically a jumping together of knowledge and disciplines. And so our work in school food systems is going to involve community gardens. We're going to be, I think, starting to be much more upstream in our thinking about health and prevention and things like that. And this is going to lead us also into a period, as we redo these systems, an opportunity for new kinds of economic development in urban areas. Now, I think what's needed as an historian and someone who actually works with youth and community populations and developing gardening efforts is we need to make childhood nutrition a national priority. You know, countries that don't take this seriously, not only is it morally reprehensible and unacceptable to allow children to be poorly nourished in a nation, but they're going to have, these nations are going to have tremendous economic problems in the future. There was some information released 2 weeks ago about India, second largest country in the world, and about 50% of the children 3 and under are grossly malnourished. And we know what the health implications of that are, and developmental delays and things like that, and not only the health care cost of paying for poor nutrition and poor access to food later, but what that's going to mean for the futures of these children and the future economic health of our nation. Is food system, is it an issue of national security now? Absolutely. Maybe not for the reasons that Woodrow Wilson would have thought in World War I, but for other reasons, because our security is our children's health and our children's nutrition. That's a security. I'm banking on my daughter growing up and being a farmer. Now, we're going to have to more explicitly link school lunch programs with school and community-based garden efforts, because we're moving into a period of American life where we're going to have to be gardening more. We need to reconsider certain food acquisition policies. Safety always has to be a primary concern, but we need to make it easier for schools and communities that have serious productive capacity for gardens to move that product into schools. And not just the way when I do a school garden program now, we have to put the harvest on the leave-it table, where kids are invited to sort of put things down and pick up what others have left. Now, we also are going to have to embark upon a fundamental restructuring of agricultural and food policies that were incredibly progressive and far-seeing when FDR implemented them 70 and 80 years ago. But we need to rethink these things. We are a different nation. We have different needs. I predict that in the next, 5 to 10 years, we're going to have to fundamentally restructure our agricultural policies in this nation. We need to look again at urban agriculture. We're hearing a lot about it now. People say it's a new model, actually a really old model. I'm from Philadelphia. Philadelphia was one of the best original examples of successful urban agriculture, where you had these small diversified farming operations right around the city core. People could get in and get their stuff to farmers markets. Urban agriculture is gardening writ large, and it's going to have enormous ability to, in inner city areas and in areas that are food deserts that people can't access, to be an economic generator. Look at programs like the Food Project in Boston. There are great models out there. This is an old model that's going to work well for us. Again, we need to begin actively coordinating local food sheds. And you know who did that really well was Herbert Hoover in World War I. And ironically, one of the reasons that Hoover was such a failure as the Depression-era president was because Americans had been so amazing in their voluntary efforts in World War I and again in World War II that he just never believed that Americans couldn't step up to the plate and respond and solve the problems. So food shed coordinators, this is actually the World War I food administrator model again. We need to encourage a gardening ethos. It needs to start from the top down and the bottom up at the same time. And if you haven't gone online and Googled it, I encourage you to check out Eat the View. Wonderful gardening guy from Maine who's encouraging whoever the next resident of the White House is to rip out the front lawn and put in a garden. And this, again, has to be simultaneously a grassroots private effort and a nationally led government initiative. You each have a role to play. Fundamentally, do we need to be more radical in our thinking? And you can visit me. I'm also, if you Google Victory Grower, you can find my website and my blog. Thank you.